All right, welcome to another edition of the Hispanic Patriot podcast. As you can see, I'm flying solo tonight while my intrepid millennial co host treks around in Mexico City, where he is gathering intel for future programs and, of course, visiting with family. We wish him a lot of fun and hopefully he'll come back with some good stories. Now, yesterday marks 2 weeks from when President Trump was delivered a landslide victory, and America delivered it, and it is with a very clear mandate to right this ship that we affectionately call the good old USA. After 4 years of the disastrous Biden Harris regime, there's a lot to clean up and turn around, as you probably well know already. But we have a lot on our plate tonight. We're going to share some stories with you, some current stories, some that are heinous, if I should can use that word, and some that are funny as well. But we begin tonight with a story out of Georgia uh, of an illegal criminal alien whose name shall not be uttered here on this show, who brutally and with malice murdered a beautiful University of Georgia co-ed named Laken Riley, a nursing student with a bright future who bravely fought her attacker for 18 long minutes before this animal crushed her skull in with a brick. Today, though, a Georgia judge delivered his sentence and rightfully ended any hope of freedom for this illegal immigrant who came into this country thanks to the open border policies of the Biden Harris regime. He will now be a guest. He will be able to stay in the U.S., but locked up in a cell where he belongs for the rest of his life. Both Biden and Harris have blood on their hands, in my opinion. Let's listen in as the judge delivers the sentence. Stand by for a second. I'll get you up there. Okay, folks, that was part of the sentencing that took place today in Georgia. As you can see, the judge laid it on very strongly, as it should be, and there's just no words to describe what this poor co-ed went through at the hands of this criminal alien. Uh, Animal is just too soft of a word in my opinion. I can't really say on the air here what I would like to say, but suffice to say that this guy is gone for the rest of his life, and let's pray uh, that justice is carried out even further in that whatever prison he ends up in. We want to extend our prayers for comfort and peace to the Lake and Riley family because today justice was served. So I want to just pause for a second and just give Lake and Riley a moment of silence as we think about her and her family. Thank you. Now, switching over to a another topic that is always at the forefront in the news these days, and that is, of course, the transgender movement. There's a new congresswoman in out of South Carolina named Nancy Mace, who even before she's sworn in is already sending woke liberals' heads into tailspins. Uh, Representative Mace has introduced a bill to ban men from women's restrooms in the U.S. Capitol. Now think about that for just a minute. The fact that we have to have a bill to prohibit males, biological males, from entering women's facilities is just ridiculous to me. But that's the world we live in today, thanks to the woke crowd on the left. Um, as expected, the left is outraged and has, of course, already issued their pushback saying that this was being done as the U.S. House of Representatives, wait for it, prepares to swear in the first transgender member of Congress, a person named Sarah McBride, who is a biological male. Simply stated, Representative Mace said that if you're a biological man, you shouldn't be allowed in women's facilities, restrooms or otherwise. What's so hard about that? Let's listen in real quick on what uh, Representative Mace had to say with a reporter on the Capitol steps. All right, this is where I need a technician. No, I'm kidding. All right, here she is. Amazing, amazing that we have to have such discussions about such topics. But this is where we are in America today, folks. I mean, and I firmly believe that this is one of the reasons, not the only reason, but one of the reasons that America said enough to the left in this past election and delivered that mandate to President Trump. Um, so, you know, this is this is a story that is going to be ongoing. Of course, nobody's going to sit back and not fight from the left because that's what they do. I mean, they find the most ridiculous thing to stand up and defend instead of picking their battles and at least trying to make some sense in what they represent to the American people. But this story is not going to go away. Um, it's going to be interesting to see what kind of votes come in this from the House, and then of course from the Senate. But stay tuned. This is going to get ugly before it gets better. So uh, let's uh, let's give Representative Mace a big shout out and kudos. If you have the ability, send her a attaboy, attagirl, to let her know that we appreciate her taking a stand on this issue and not backing down one bit. She is a fighter. I can tell just by listening to her speak. So let's hope for her success on that. Um, let's move on to another topic because this one relates to President-elect Trump and his agenda coming in as the 47th president on January 20th. As you know, he has been busy appointing cabinet members. Uh, that process alone has been quite what do you call it, the boilerplate and stirring of the pot for the left because they are just losing their minds, and we're going to see some interesting funny videos of those people actually losing their mind. But before we get to that, I wanted to talk a little bit about one of President Trump's premier uh, points for this coming agenda on his agenda for the coming administration, um, which is the mass deportation of illegals in this country, starting with criminals and those who are terrorists. And we're going to hunt them down, is what President Trump said. And according to statistics, it shows that there's a lot of people that are on the list. Now, you've got people on the left that are crying that Trump is going to deport doctors and nurses and, you know, typical rhetoric that comes from the left. I mean, give me a break, okay? He clearly stated that the first people that are on the list are criminals and terrorists. Now, if you're an American, I want you to raise your hand if you think that criminals and terrorists need to just be let alone and not be hunted down and removed from this country. I dare you. I don't care if you're right, left, middle, upside down, right side up. You know, it's ridiculous. So it's ridiculous that we have this conversation. But here's what's going on with Democrat governors around the country. They're already plotting to try to thwart President Trump's mass deportation program. And they're saying that they will not assist federal authorities in the apprehension of criminal illegals in their states. Now stop and think for a moment what they're saying. What they're saying is they have an utter disregard for the safety of their own citizens in their state and the cities in their state. If that's not beyond the pale, I don't know what is, folks. They would prefer to play politics over doing their sworn duties of protecting the citizens of their own states. Now, if I was a citizen of a state, and I am, here in Colorado, where we have a kind of lefty goofball governor named Polis, if he tries to pull that, I'm going to be the first one in line to try to impeach that guy. I don't care if it's feasible or not. I think the people are going to rise up. And I believe that a lot of people, even on the left, are going to rise up and say, wait a minute. You're going to tell us that you're going to protect criminals and potential terrorists over the safety of us and our families? I don't think so. I don't think we'll have trouble finding people who will stand up, and this time this will be a bridge too far. I don't think that he's dumb enough to do that, but then again, he's surprised me before in the past. So let's see how that unfolds. But there are several governors around the country who have already gone on the record to say that they're going to thwart and do anything they can to prevent President Trump from executing his plan for mass deportations. So let's see how that goes. To that part, I'm going to say, not so fast. They don't know who they're messing with. And I'm not speaking about President Trump. I'm speaking about Tom Homan, who is Trump's newly appointed border czar. A real border czar. Not like Kamala. Let's listen to what Tom Homan had to say with regards to the deportation and the plans by these governors that are going to try to thwart his attempts to execute the president's plan. Hold on just a minute. I'll get that up for you. Here we go.
About mass deportations.
Well, I think the diversion of law enforcement from the work that they do every day to keep our communities safe, people hiding in fear. We saw that under previous state policies here, and it harms communities.
Title 8, United States Code 1324, III. Read about that and don't cross that line, because it is a felony to harbor and conceal an illegal alien from ICE. Read the statute, don't cross that line.
That's a warning from Tom Homan right there.
I want to talk about the border real quick, because Tom Homan, in the notes that we got here, is that Tom Homan fires back at Democrat governors vowing to block Trump from deporting migrants. Now, I don't know how much power the federal government has against states for not cooperating in federal affairs. Because if we just say we were trying to block the border off from foreign enemies, and then Texas just let the border stay wide open and let as many enemies in, like what does the federal government do? You got to have a recourse. The federal government has to have jurisdiction over the border. So let me read some stats real quick, and then we're going to go to Tom Homan's video. It says 2024 ends with nearly 3 million inadmissible encounters, bringing the total encounters to 10 million since 2021. Since the start of fiscal year 2021, in October of 2020, Customs and Border Protection has recorded more than 10 million encounters nationwide, including more than 8.72 million at the southwest border. Of the 2.9 million nationwide encounters in fiscal year 2024, 46% were at port of entry, while only 15% nationwide encounters were at port of entries in 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in an existential crisis in America, and we better get out together. This video is brought to you by Ground.News, brought to you by Ground.News. Ladies and gentlemen, let's check this out real quick. Like I always tell you guys when I talk about Ground.News. Right over here to the right, you can see the reporting on that, and they're talking about this all over the world. Everywhere you can think about, they're talking about Donald Trump using deportation. If you want to follow Donald Trump, you can click here and follow all the news associated with Donald Trump. Let's go to Blind Spot real quick because I don't want you to be blind spotted. All right. These are things in this section. These are things that Republicans need to think about and that Democrats need to think about that could be blindsides to them. Let me give you an example. On the right, it says Trump expected to name Linda McMahon as
The Democratic leadership that obstructs ICE in your federal agents that are helping get these deportations. What happens to them?
Well, first of all, if they don't want to help us get the hell out of the way, we're going to do it. If I got to send twice the amount of resources to that city, that's what we're going to do. If they would give us access to the jail, that would mean less agents in the community. For them pushing back and not letting us in the jail, it just means more agents are going to be in the community, so they're hurting themselves. I'll say this. They need to educate themselves. They need to review this. Title 8, United States Code 1324, III. Read about that and don't cross that line because it is a felony to harbor and conceal an illegal alien from ICE. Read the statute, don't cross that line.
Now, did you hear that part? There is recourse for the federal government. Some people think that the state governments, these rogue state governors, are going to successfully block the feds from coming into their states and removing illegal criminals, aliens, and anyone who is on the list. Tom Homan has another thing coming for them.
It's a warning from Tom Homan right there.
I don't want it to just be a warning. I want people to go to jail. These mayors and these people are harboring illegal aliens intentionally. And then they go out and hurt somebody. And knowingly and intentionally harboring illegal aliens that then go out and kill somebody, you should be held vicariously responsible for it. So I want to play the clip of Katie Hobbs that's in the state of Arizona. Before I start the clip, Katie Hobbs is the most disgusting, disgraceful governor in the entire United States of America. Before she put the picture up there, she is the most disheveled governor that I've ever seen. Every time you see Katie Hobbs, look like she just got out of bed getting beat up all night. And I'm not talking about in a good way. All right, put her up on the screen. Don't she? Well, she may got her hair creased this time, but every time you see her, she looked like she just came from a Halloween party or something. Roll the clip.
When hearing about the Trump administration's plans for border security, the emphasis really is on this mass deportation. What we saw here today is the actual work happening at our ports of entry that are interdicting drugs, keeping those drugs off our streets, and we need more of that to secure the border here.
As you know, Trump has promised that he would carry out mass deportations on day one of his presidency. Your state is estimated to have 250,000 undocumented immigrants. Some Democrats in your state, like Phoenix Mayor Kate Gallego, say that she wouldn't allow police to be used to carry out this plan. Would you, as governor, allow state police and National Guard to carry out mass deportations?
We will not be participating in misguided efforts that harm our communities, and I've been incredibly clear about that.
So
misguided efforts that will harm our communities. So criminals roaming your streets of your cities is not harming your communities. Is that what you're trying to tell us, Katie?
disagree with mass deportations and the fact that the president-elect says that's what he's going to be working on day one?
Well, I think that those efforts are going to divert needed resources that we need here on these drug interdiction and smuggling and trafficking efforts to keep harm out of our communities. We need those resources here, and the coming here today and seeing this operation firsthand. And just underscores that working in partnership here is how we can best secure the border.
What would worry you the most, Governor, about mass deportations?
Well, I think the diversion of law enforcement from the work that they do every day to keep our.
Yeah, Katie, the work that they do every day is apprehend criminals. What part of that do you not get?
Our community safe. People hiding in fear. We saw that under previous state policies here.
If they're here illegally, they should be in fear. They came here illegally. They need to be removed, starting with all the criminals that are causing your citizens harm every single day, Miss Katie Hobbs.
And it harms communities. It tears families apart, and that's not gonna happen on my watch.
You want to bet, Katie?
That's why women shouldn't. Let me not say that. I almost said that's why women shouldn't lead. Look how silly she is. Look how silly this woman is. She can't even say or have a articulable response without saying she can't give a straight answer. Not one time did she give a straight answer. Just say that we will not accept deportations, and that's it. It will resources. Tom Homan just said he's going to send as much resources as we need in order to accomplish this. You have people in the state of Arizona with deportation orders, and you feel like you don't have to send them back. Deportation orders, sheportation orders. Who cares? It's the same difference. Come on, man. Y'all got to get it together. All right, we got some more clips on here. The Illinois governor, Pritzker. Listen to this.
Oh, here's another gem.
I almost called him fat. I'm not going to call him fat. Roll the clip.
Chicago. Governor Pritzker, thank you for being here. Let's talk about that. Can the state of Illinois prevent the federal government from building internment camps?
Now, there's a pair. Joy, whatever her name is, and the governor of Illinois. Doesn't look like he's missed too many meals.
AKA what they're calling detention facilities in Chicago.
Well, we have prohibited by law in the state of Illinois the use of any of our existing county jails or prisons for the purpose of rounding people up and detaining them.
All right, you get the gist of what he's saying. Internment camps. She should go to prison for saying that on TV. She's just creating chaos and confusion for no reason. Ain't no way in the world you can create an internment camp. These people are so stupid to me. Scott Jennings.
I agree, Officer Tatum.
Just did a really good job going out against Jake Tapper on this very topic. So we got two clips from Scott Jennings. We're going to play both of those clips. Let's start with the first one. Roll it.
I think a few things. Number one, Donald Trump was elected to do this. He ran on it, made it clear what he wanted to do. The American people voted for it. And so some people are watching this going, thank God, a politician who's planning to follow through on their promises. Number two, there's like 1.3 to 1.6 million illegal immigrants who've already received deportation orders from a court. I think you could start there. Number three, there's another population of people who are violent. You could also go there before you ever get to people who are sort of working in industries. And maybe during the course of all that time, maybe, just maybe, the Congress and the White House could figure something out about how to balance our illegal immigration crisis with the need for agricultural labor.
Yeah, let's not jump. I hope this guy doesn't jump to the word amnesty, because that will be the death of this whole regime.
Labor. Final point, I don't remember anybody having these kinds of meltdowns when Barack Obama deported 5 million people. It is not uncommon for the executive branch to deport illegal immigrants. It happens in every administration. Obama deported more than most. And I don't remember any of this kind of meltdown, and the crisis has only gotten worse. So
Bingo. Obama, Biden, Clinton, all of them deported people.
I think Donald Trump's doing the right thing, and most Republicans would agree it is a national emergency. Well, I think, number one, there was some polling during the election, I think CBS News conducted it, indicating that a majority of Hispanic Americans wanted Donald Trump to do mass deportations, that they had come
I'm one of them.
here, they had gone through the legal process, they had become citizens, and they didn't like the idea of huge scores of illegal immigrants coming across every day. Look at some of the counties in Texas along the border that are majority Hispanic, and the changeover from Biden to Trump. It is a crisis, and the Hispanic community, the people who have come here legally, the people here are following all the laws and all the rules, they're living in some of the communities that are the hardest hit. And so I agree that they also believe in Donald Trump's economic message, because most Hispanic Americans are working class Americans, and the working class did flow towards Donald Trump. They're living in the communities that are the hardest hit by illegal immigration and the societal and governance impacts that it brings. And so I think they want him to do something about both. I don't think the two issues are mutually exclusive.
Some of this. And think about this.
The challenge of sorting through them is mammoth. We had a hard time doing it in Iraq. Okay, our troops have had a hard time doing it in Afghanistan. Trying to ask them to sort through who's who and implement a policy like this, here in the United States is like nothing we've ever seen.
Actually,
I mean, hold on, maybe the only precedent we have is internment camps during World War II against Japanese Americans, but there's not a military precedent for sorting through who on the Upper East Side is an illegal and who's not. And you're asking a 19-year-old, right, holding a weapon, who signed up to serve his or her country, to thrust themselves into maybe the most fraught political topic that we've got in this country. People want a solution, but they don't necessarily want that one.
You've twice now insinuated that Trump's going to send the military to round up American citizens, which is totally false. There are 1.3 to 1.6 million illegal immigrants in this country today who have already received deportation orders from a court. You can start there. There's another population, as Mark said, that have either committed violent crimes in the United States or committed violent crimes where they came from. You can also do that. That has nothing to do with the people in your neighborhood, has nothing to do with the person in your office, and has nothing to do with whatever the hell you're talking about. It has to do with getting people out of the country who do not belong.
How are you going to deploy the military? Give me how exactly you would deploy an active duty military unit to respond to this crisis.
I would use the military in conjunction with local officials,
what does that look
local
like?
law enforcement, county sheriffs, people who know their communities, because I assume a lot of the local sheriffs and jailers are going to be the people who end up housing some of these folks before they are deported. But there has to be some...
What's the task and purpose? What's the mission for that young private? What is he actually going to be tasked to do? Guard a gate? Or is he going to be investigating?
I don't know. I wasn't elected
But you're sitting here on CNN saying we should do it. I think you should think out a little bit more about what they actually should be required to do.
Do not belong here.
This guy's a clown, man. This guy was in our military. This is the type of people that need to be purged from our military. This guy's a joke.
One at a time. Scott, quickly.
There are millions of people who came into the country illegally, who have already received deportation orders, or who have committed some other crime while they've been here. The fact that you want to leave them in place is mind-boggling.
Give that man a raise. Give him a raise. And maybe he'll be press secretary next. Give him a raise.
Yeah, this is amazing to me. The mentality of some of these people on the left, they create the problem, and then they don't want to do anything about it. And then when you have a president with the gumption to come forth and say, I'm going to solve this issue. Yes, we need reform within our laws to accommodate some issues that may be present, but that has nothing to do with the tens of millions that have come across, including, again, a lot of criminals, a lot of mentally deficient people who have been let out of institutions around the world and sent here on purpose. Venezuela's crime rate has plummeted 75% since this invasion of our country began. Now, what do you think that is due to? They emptied their prisons and they told those people to go north to America and don't come back. And in addition to that, they have already come out and said Maduro, the dictator in Venezuela, has said that if Trump tries to send back any deportees to his country, that they will not be accepted. Okay, this is where we're at. There's going to be a confrontation, but with regards to these rogue governors around the country who think that they're going to block President Trump's deportation orders, they might want to rethink that. One good reason would be the federal funds that will be cut off like a spigot if they try to do that. And what do these governors and other state legislatures love the most? They love those federal dollars flowing back into their state so that they can spend them on boondoggles and bridges to nowhere and other port projects that they have around their state. And if the federal government decides to all of a sudden cut off that financial spigot to the states, guess what? They're going to fall in line, because otherwise they will be out faster than they can say deportation. Yes, this is what's going on, folks. It's amazing to me. It's going to be fun to watch as it unfolds. Tom Homan doesn't mess around. And I'm here to tell you, they picked on the wrong guy to antagonize. So stay tuned for further developments on that front. Now, on the Colorado front, we have our own Secretary of State, Jenna Griswold, who basically has jumped into the vat, so to speak, about what she participated in regarding her duties as Secretary of State. Now, let's backtrack a little bit, and for those of you not familiar with the case, Jenna Griswold is our Secretary of State. I call her a political hack. I don't think I've ever seen a political hack more obvious than Jenna Griswold. Okay, and she's in hot water right now. There are calls for investigations and even resignation, and the drama surrounding the leaked passwords of voting machines in our state by this Secretary of State in 63 out of the 64 counties in our state. Now, this is the same Jenna Griswold, okay, who pushed for the prosecution of Tina Peters, who was the clerk and recorder from Mesa County here in Colorado on our western slope, for leaking passwords for one county, her own. One county, okay? Jenna did it for 63 out of our 64 counties, and then on top of all of that, tried to cover it up. As the saying goes, karma is a bee. Yep. So let's listen in a little bit to what Jenna had to say when she was confronted with this issue.
We have multiple pressing stories to get to, stories that include bombshell audio just out from county commissioners who are pissed as hell over Colorado Secretary of State Jenna Griswold's office covering up for what they did leading up to the election, or what they didn't do, what they failed to do. There's even a Denver DA investigation now underway over that voter systems password breach that they experienced just days out before the election. This is the same Secretary of State, Jenna Griswold, that moved to disqualify Trump for running for president. Yes, that Jenna Griswold. And she is now in.
Yeah. She was on the air after the Supreme Court 9-0 decision that slapped down her attempt to remove President Trump from the ballot here in Colorado.
A world of trouble. Her office caught red-handed, covering up for the failures of her office. Wait till you see this. And a refreshing breath of fresh air with Trump's new press secretary announcement tapping Carolyn Leavitt, a 27-year-old, smart, articulate, and a voracious defender of truth. We're going to look at some of her best highlights.
It's going to be fun watching this new press secretary unravel the left-wing media in the White House press room. This is going to be fun, folks.
Also, what's happening over at the Hoover Building in Washington, D.C.? Well, the deep state's now at work trying to front-run Trump's announcement on who's going to be replacing Chris Wray to lead the FBI, and more stories from around the country. But before we get started, thank you for liking and sharing these videos. Completely contradicts Jenna Griswold's previous statements about this, that they had nothing to hide, that her office immediately moved to change those passwords after learning about the breach. And we have the audio from this new shocking call that Colorado's Secretary of State's office had with these county clerks. Before we play it, though, just realize the Secretary of State is in charge of state elections, right? Election security, all of it. As citizens, we want to know that the person in that job, their office, takes these matters seriously and is above reproach. Well, Jenna Griswold, she already got a whole slew of questions around her. This is the same person who decided to unilaterally disqualify Donald Trump, removing his name from Colorado's ballot, only to have the Supreme Court overrule her decision just weeks later.
Nearly non-functioning body. So, and ultimately,
this, watch.
My larger reaction is disappointment. I do believe that states should be able, under our Constitution, to bar oath-breaking insurrectionists. And ultimately, this decision.
Tell me she doesn't look like a lunatic. Hey, I'm just playing the video. Look at her face and tell me what you think.
Leaves open the door for Congress to act, to pass authorizing legislation. But we know that Congress is a nearly non-functioning body. So ultimately, it will be up to the American voters to save our democracy in November.
That's who we're talking about here. She's hyper-partisan.
Yep, she was right about that. And the American public spoke loud and clear, didn't they?
So everything she does, a lot of Americans, and especially Coloradans, accidentally published.
Secretary of State Jenna Griswold's office was not going to tell county election clerks and the public that they had accidentally leaked voting machine passwords. 9 News Investigates has obtained an audio recording where Griswold's chief deputy tells.
For those of you that don't know, this guy is a far-left hack that that is the anchor for one of the local news channels here. And even he was calling this whacked out Secretary of State out. Listen.
Tells the clerks that they were not going to be told because it would cause a media frenzy. Griswold only notified the clerks and only changed the passwords after that security breach was revealed to the media and the public. That security breach came out 5 days after Griswold's office learned about it, when the Colorado Republican Party broke the news and asked for an investigation. The passwords had been inadvertently posted on her website in the hidden tab of a spreadsheet, sitting there for months. Clerks were upset to find out about it through the news. Griswold told me that day that she hadn't decided whether the public was ever going to be told.
Well, now we know that her office went to great lengths to cover this up, saying on this newly leaked call between her office and county clerks that they don't want to create a media storm around this. You can't make this up. And listen to the pushback they got from these county clerks, shocked by the level of incompetence coming out of her office. Roll the tape.
9 News Investigates got a hold of an audio recording of Griswold's top deputy speaking to the clerks just minutes after I talked with Griswold that day.
Josh, I appreciate that you're expressing upset. And
I'm
you're
not
traveling.
upset, Chris. I'm pissed off, and it's really hard not answering.
That's putting it mildly, wouldn't you say?
Media questions the way I actually want to.
Okay. I will tell you, all I can do is be as transparent as I possibly can. We were not going to tell counties because we could not tell counties without it becoming the media storm it has become.
But they had no problem creating a martyr out of Tina Peters, a Gold Star mother who was the county clerk of one county. This is a breach of 63 counties, and yet they were planning to keep it a secret, and they got caught with the hand in the cookie jar.
It's Chris.
No, it is not.
The clerk there saying it's bull is a Democratic clerk, we should mention. Election security experts say that the leaked passwords alone were not enough to compromise Colorado's voting system. Secretary of State Griswold initially brushed off the incident, said that her office would be.
Did you just hear that? The leak of those passwords was not enough to compromise Colorado's election integrity system. But the leak of passwords in one county was definitely Armageddon in her mind.
Be investigating itself. The governor then called for an outside investigation. That's now happening. Griswold's office says that she regrets that the clerks found out about this from the media 5 days after she learned the leak. But her office reiterated to us today that telling the clerks without, quote, determining the full scope of the issue and having a, quote unquote, outreach strategy, that would have posed what they see as a significant risk.
In another story, Donald.
Okay, folks. I think we got the gist of what this crooked politician, political hack, left-wing loon named Jenna Griswold, the inimitable Secretary of State of the state of Colorado. We know what this is about. And there's an appeal that has been filed for Tina Peters' case. And there are people calling for Jenna Griswold to resign and also to be charged, just like Tina Peters was charged. And if she got almost 9 years for leaking the password of one county, what should Jenna Griswold get for leaking 63 counties? You do the math. You can't make this stuff up, folks. But it's going to be interesting to watch. So stay tuned for the development as this story unfolds and gets juicier by the day. Now let's switch gears and have a little bit of fun. Okay, lefties losing it. Videos of lefties losing it after the election of Donald Trump. You can't make this stuff up, folks. The sheer comedy is just beyond the pale. It's really fun to watch, but I'll let you decide what you think. Let's go and take a look at some of these examples of lefties losing it after Donald Trump was elected.
I hear the question, Gabe, but respectfully, the president has been no other president has spoken about anti-Semitism than this president.
But that's not the question. It's the protest.
And I'm answering it in the way that I believe is the best way to answer your question.
I tell you what he's doing is rewarding them by forgiving their student loans. She really is hopelessly incompetent and inarticulate. Now let's look at what happens when pampered theatre kids grow up and become full-time idiots. This lot put on a play of sorts outside the White House Correspondents' Dinner.
Gotta love this Aussie, man. She is right on the money. She pulls no punches.
Featuring IDF soldiers murdering civilians in cold blood. Staying in Washington, D.C., time to check on some climate craziness. Watch as this woman tries to vandalise an artwork at the National Gallery of Art. Thankfully, it had a protective case around it, but she did her best.
All it is.
Hello, friends. My name's Joanna. I'm a mom from Brooklyn.
She's a mum from Brooklyn and she's headed to jail for vandalising that Edgar Degas statue. She's been sentenced to 60 days in prison. Enjoy that. Our good mate, the incorrigible Texan himself, Alex Stein, primetime 99 Alex Stein, he took his gays for Palestine shtick to New York, and you know, no one makes lefties lose it quicker than Alex.
Gays for Palestine! Don't throw me off a roof! In Palestine, they oftentimes have to run to Israel. You're not allowed to be openly gay in Palestine.
Why are we talking about gay people? Do you think they kill them?
Do you think
they kill them?
Do you think gay men get killed in Palestine ever?
For being gay?
Yes.
Yes, they do kill them. They throw them off the tops of buildings, you moron.
Do you have any reports of that? Do you have any? Show me a report. Show me a report.
This is the moment for action.
Is this jokes?
No, we're live on YouTube. We're trying to get some channel.
You like smiling, huh?
No, I'm just trying to cover
it seems funny to you. It seems funny.
Well, okay, now everybody's getting mad.
No, I hear you.
Oh my God!
To California now, where riots are breaking out at UCLA as students are forced to protect themselves from the mad mobs taking over the university.
This is the tolerant crowd, folks.
If you're wondering why students don't feel safe at UCLA, have a look at how this young man was chased down and forced to submit. But I have some good news for you. This wonderful footage of frat boys from the University of North Carolina standing up to the campus Marxists to protect the American flag. Alleged assault. Now let's lighten the mood with some more champagne comedy from Australian duo Superwog.
Were they white?
No.
Were they black?
No, colour doesn't matter, you bigot.
Were they fat?
That's body shaming. Sorry.
What did they look like?
A human. That's who you're getting from me, you pig.
Okay, witness says we're looking for an angry, BO-smelling, pink-haired dog with a nose ring over...
Let's stay in Australia, Melbourne to be precise, and have a look at this interaction between a curious football fan who asked what a pro-Palestinian protest is all about. Watch how reasonable and peaceful the response is.
Yeah, mate, he's just drunk.
Look after him, bro.
What's your problem?
You're another Zionist? No, I wouldn't know what was going on. Palestinian.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, 15,000 children have been killed. And 45 people have been killed.
Yeah, that's up. I agree, man.
Oh, really?
I just wanted to... No, I got no... Nah, here. Nothing, problem. Nothing.
Something to them, mate.
Who's been smart? Who is it? Who is it? Who? What are you saying? Nothing, bro. Too much to drink, you sure? No, mate. You've got mouth off. No, mate. I'll drop it right now. Are you? Yeah, I am serious, yeah. What are you going to do? Yeah? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Not women, you big tough man. Really?
Aren't they so brave? You notice how they're always in a gang, 3, 4, 5 against one. They're just so brave.
Now, we've seen so-called progressives of all ages lose it, but are the next generation the most severely impacted by this woke mind virus, also known as Marxism? Many fear that's the case, but not Tim Dillon. He sees a different phenomenon happening. He says the cool kids are rebelling.
Yes, all the cool kids now are unwoke. Some of them are going back to Christianity because it's the only way to be rebellious. Because, you know, everybody's blue-haired, non-binary, talking about piss orgies, and that's like, it's the cover of Newsweek. You have to be like a Catholic, Opus Dei, like sing the rosary to be a problem. Like, you used to be able to just dye your hair and get a tattoo and a nose ring. Now that's like, oh, what are you running for Congress?
I'm sorry, but I'm about to bring you a cringe fest unlike anything you have seen before. I'm warning you now. Look away because you might feel a little bit queasy after this. Here is actress and TV host Drew Barrymore with the Vice President.
Been thinking that we really all need a tremendous hug in the world right now. Yeah. But in our country, we need you to be Mamala of the country.
We need you to be Mamala of the country. That was too much cringe even for cringe queen Kamala. Gosh, even she felt uncomfortable. Good Lord. And they say Hollywood types are out of touch. And just how will Kamala be Mamala of the country? By ignoring her duties as the borders are, big tick there. By being the most wildly unpopular Veep of all time. And the most incompetent, tick, tick, tick there. But the Vice President seems to think criticism of her, including of her incessant and often ill-timed giggling.
Of course. Play the gender and the race card. That's their go-to message every time they get in hot water.
And laughing is all due to sexism, of course. Right? Good times. Now,
Okay, folks, I think that gives you a little taste of what's going on with some of the lefty. There's a lot more that I've been privy to access, but we're almost out of time, so we're gonna stop it here. We want you to know that you know, there's a fun event coming up on December the 5th, the Colorado Hispanic Republicans Christmas Party. We have the information on our Facebook page and our website. If you haven't signed up, don't wait until it's too late. The slots are filling up fast. And with karaoke, it's going to be a blast. So be there or be square. With that, we want to thank you for tuning in tonight to our weekly show. And we ask that you stay involved, stay informed, and continue to fight. As President Trump said, fight, fight, fight. We've got a great administration coming up starting January 20th, and we're looking forward to better times ahead. As always, thank you for tuning in. Give us a like on the YouTube channel and X. If you're inclined, throw us a small donation. Every little bit helps us get the word out to all those who are out there and those that we're trying to reach. So thank you again for tuning in. God bless you. God bless the United States of America.